This will be some practice from the Calling All Brief Lovers book. Begins with a question for the record. Now, what is your name?
Well, it is Charles Parker.
Well, how are you today?
Fine.
All right, sir. Where do you live at the present time?
Sir, I live at 4329 Palmer Boulevard in Sarasota.
Okay. Is that in the county?
Correct.
Now, sir, are you married?
Sure.
Fine. And your wife's name is Mary?
Yeah.
Right. And do you have children?
No, sir.
Do you want children?
Yes, sir.
I understand, but you just don't want them right now.
Yes, sir.
Sir, are you employed at the present time?
Yes.
All right. And where are you employed?
Well, right now at the hospital.
Well, what do you do?
I'm a doctor.
Now, doctor, what type of doctor are you?
A general medical doctor.
Doctor, are you licensed to practice in the state of Florida?
Yes, sir.
Yes. And you have hospital privileges, I assume?
Right.
Now, are you licensed in any other state?
No.
Okay. Will you send me your curriculum vitae?
All right.
Well, I'll call your office.
Okay.
Okay. Do you have one prepared?
Sure, but I don't know where it's filed.
I understand. Can you get it to me as soon as possible?
Okay.
All right, sir. You practice with children, is that correct?
Correct.
Now, you have been in practice for 5 years.
Yes, sir.
Now, doctor, we are here today about an accident in which you were involved. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you remember the accident?
Sure.
Fine, just so we understand each other.
Right.
Now, doctor, what was the date of the accident?
Well, it was December 1, 2010.
Okay, and what time of day was it?
Sir, I believe the police report says 4 p.m.
Yes. What was the weather like?
It was raining heavily.
I see. How was the visibility?
Fine.
Well, could you still see clearly?
Correct.
Now, sir, would you please tell us how the accident happened?
Okay. I was driving through a green light at the intersection of Clark Road and Swift Road, and Mr. Black went through the red light and struck my car at the door.
I see. Was it the driver's door?
Right.
Now, sir, were you hurt?
Yes, sir.
All right, sir. About how fast were you traveling at the time of the accident?
I was just starting up from being stopped at the light, so it couldn't have been more than 5 miles per hour.
All right. Did you see the other car prior to the accident?
Yes, I did.
And how far away was the other automobile when you first saw it?
I would estimate about 30 feet.
Can you say how fast this other car was going?
I would estimate at least 40 miles per hour. It was trying to beat the light, I would assume.
Where were you coming from at the time of the accident?
I was coming from work at the hospital.
And where were you going?
I was headed to pick up my clothes at the dry cleaners and then on home.
Tell us how the accident happened.
The light turned green for the cars on Swift Road, and I proceeded into the intersection and was struck on the driver's side door.
And which road were you on?
I was on Swift Road.
And what direction were you headed on Swift?
I was facing south when I was stopped at the light.
And then what happened?
The light turned green for traffic on Swift, and I proceeded into the intersection like I told you.
And then what happened?
A car came flying through the light and struck me on the driver's side.
What kind of car struck you?
It was a tan Honda Accord. I don't know the year, but it looked new.
Did the police come to the scene of the accident?
Yes, but about 5 minutes later.
Did you speak with the other driver?
Yes, I did.
And what was the conversation?
He claimed I went through a red light.
And what did you say?
I said I certainly did not. I told him my light had turned to green and both lanes of cars on Swift Road were already into the middle of the intersection.
And what did he say?
He said his light could have been yellow, and I told him that was true because the other 2 lanes on Clark Road had already pulled to a stop several seconds before the light at Swift turned green.
Did the police question Mr. Black at the scene of the accident?
Yes, they did.
And what did they say to him?
I couldn't hear them, but they were giving him field tests.
Do you mean tests for DUI?
Yes, I do.
And do you know the result of the test?
No, I don't.
Was he given a traffic citation at the scene of the accident?
I believe so.
Did an ambulance come to the scene of the accident?
Yes, it did.
Was your car damaged in the accident?
Yes, it was.
Do you have an estimate of the damage to your car?
Yes, it was $9,000.
What kind of car were you driving?
It was a 2009 Volkswagen Passat.
And what was the price of the car when you bought it?
If I remember, it was just over $25,000.
Were there any witnesses at the scene of the accident?
Yes, there were quite a few.
Do you have the names and addresses of the witnesses?
I don't remember the names, but my attorney has the list.
And are the witnesses also on the police report?
I believe so.
You were injured in the accident, is that correct?
That is correct.
Did the ambulance take you to the hospital?
Yes, it did.
What were your injuries?
My head was bleeding from cuts by broken glass.
Anything else?
I was knocked out.
Did your head hit something?
Well, the airbag went off and my head snapped back. and hit the headrest.
Were you knocked out?
I don't believe so, but I was very dizzy. I couldn't get out of the car by myself.
Was the driver of the other car injured?
I don't know.
Were there any passengers in the other car?
I don't think so.
So the other driver was still at the scene of the accident when you left in the ambulance. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
How long did you stay in the hospital?
I believe it was 6 days.
So how much time did you miss from work?
I missed 2 months.
And why was that?
Well, the x-rays showed my wrist was broken, so I had to wear a cast for 6 weeks. You need 2 hands to work on children and to pick them up.